Welcome to the Redirect Podcast. My name is Abigail Hewins.
And I'm Emily Rojas. The Redirect Podcast is a show where we shift the conversation back to books. We discuss themes from some of our favorite fictional books and how those themes show up in real lived experiences.
On today's episode, we'll be discussing literary families and what it would be like to join them at their Thanksgiving tables. So, Emily, this is a fun episode.
This is a fun episode.
Just in time for Thanksgiving, we'll be talking about... So these are some literary families, most of whom people are probably already familiar with, right? So There's not a ton of research that has to go into this to understand the context.
And we're not going to spoil any... we'll try not to spoil any of the books that are referenced in our literary families. So it's more just an overview of some of the people we enjoy and maybe we think would be fun to have Thanksgiving with. More so maybe than your own family.
Right. I think just in general, like Thanksgiving, like as a culture, we have too high of expectations for what Thanksgiving should be. Like we try so hard and put so much effort into making this like super like Norman Rockwell romantic, like perfect day. And then, it makes it so that if like one family member has too much to drink, it like ruins it. But really, that's just like to be expected.
That's just part of it. Yeah.
That's just part of it. But like, I think culture and movies and TV shows and books have made us think that it should be something like way more special than it is. And it's just a day where we're trying our best. And people who have issues in your family aren't magically going to not have issues just because it's Thanksgiving.
Amen.
So that should be remembered.
That should keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And I think that's true of our literary families as well. I think the best literary families are those that are slightly flawed and at least somewhat remind you of your own.
Exactly, because we're all narcissists at heart and we're just looking to find ourselves in the things that we read.
Amen.
So I can kick it off.
Go ahead.
The first family that came to my mind was the March family from Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I will slightly spoil this because if this book's been out for like 200 years or something, so at this point you should probably know what's going to happen. But the main characters sitting at this Thanksgiving table, of course, would be Marmee, Meg, Jo, Amy, and Beth. So this is a family that lives in the North during the Civil War times, and we know what they do on Christmas. In the book, they have a Christmas, and they have this huge Christmas feast, and they're all really excited about it. And then Marmee comes in, and she's like, "Hey, girls, what if we took our Christmas feast over to this poor, sick German family?" And they're like, "Okay." Which, let's just pause there. I know it's supposed to be really sweet, but lowest of keys, I would be annoyed.
I would be so upset. Because you literally, on Thanksgiving, I don't know what it was like in ye olden days, probably different, but it's like, you don't eat breakfast. You don't eat lunch, like you're literally starving yourself all day. In my family, occasionally we will run a 5K. I hate to admit, but we are that family. So you've run your 5K, you've been starving yourself. You had a cup of black coffee. That's it. And then your mom's like, we're going to take all the food to a poor family. I mean, that's really nice, but I think I would have a hangry rage. I would snap, I think, if my
low key, it is annoying.
Yeah.
So that's what I think Marmee would do. On Thanksgiving, she would be the one being like, if we were to like drop the marches in like 2022, she would be like, let's go to the soup kitchen. Let's go to Meals on Wheels. Let's do whatever, or go pass out cups of water at the local turkey trot. Like, let's give back. We also know, I did a little research about this, that Louisa May Alcott wrote a book, a mini novella called An Old-Fashioned Thanksgiving. So we can actually guess what the March family may have cooked on the Thanksgiving holiday. So here's an excerpt from that book. "The big kitchen was a jolly place just now, for the great fireplace roared a cheerful fire. On the walls hung garlands of dried apples, onions, and corn. Up aloft from the beams shone crooked squashes, juicy hams, and dried venison. Savory smells were in the air. On the crane hung steaming kettles, and down among the red embers, copper saucepans simmered, all suggestive of some approaching feast." And here's what the family in that story ate on Thanksgiving: Pretty straightforward things. They had roast turkey and onions, plum pudding, mince pie, and stuffing. So for that time period, they're still pretty English, you know. That seems like a pretty straightforward Thanksgiving meal.
Hmm.
In their household, though, I will remind you, they do have a servant, Hannah. So Hannah would be doing the cooking. Meg, the oldest sister, would be helping. She would be doing a lot of helping for Hannah. Amy, she would be the drama. She would be busy picking out the perfect Thanksgiving outfit, and she's definitely the type to pick like a really uncomfortable but cute, fancy like dress to wear on Thanksgiving, and not like sweatpants. Are you more sweatpants or dress up on Thanksgiving?
I am sweatpants. I might do like leggings and like a cute sweater, like try. I will say, my family goes to the beach every Thanksgiving. It's kind of a tradition we've started. So that would be the one day I will put on like makeup, wear real clothes.
Because everyone's taking pictures.
Yeah, you're taking pictures. So, but it's probably like a leggings and cute sweater kind of vibe. Definitely
Okay.
not a dress or something super cute or anything uncomfortable. No.
That was actually, it's funny that you say that. That was like one of the main, like the first things that Zach asked me last year. Because last year he was the first time he came to my family's for Thanksgiving. And he was like, please, like, I will go, but like, this isn't like a dress up Thanksgiving, is it? I was like, not at all. This is a elastic waistband Thanksgiving.
Yes. As it should be.
As it should be. So, okay, that's what Amy's doing. Joe is, I would say, most like you, in that she's probably organizing a family theatrical production for after the meal, the post-meal entertainment. Beth is playing the piano and generally being a useless part of the day's plot, as she is a useless part of the plot of that movie. I mean, of that book. And Marmee would be writing a very detailed letter to her father, and breaking up fights between Joe and Amy, and making everyone give all away their food to the poor, as we established. So that's what I think the Marches would be doing on Thanksgiving. What's the first family you want to share?
Okay, so my first family is Nora and Libby from Book Lovers. So if you have never read this book by Emily Henry, first of all, what are you doing? You need to read it. So go ahead and do that and then come back. But Nora and Libby, they are like polar opposites. They're sisters. Their mother passed away when they were relatively young, and Nora, as the older sister, had to kind of take care of the family after that. And so but they're very different. Nora is high-powered career woman, often single or casually dating, very, very ambitious, very workaholic. And then Libby, she's got multiple children. She kind of struggles. I think she's a stay-at-home mom. It's been a little while since I read this, so I think she's a stay-at-home mom.
There's like a bunch of kids crammed in a little apartment.
Yes, a ton of kids crammed in a small apartment, married to like someone she's known for a long time. So just polar opposites. But I think, and in the book, they kind of go on a little trip together. And it is hard because I think this is such a good realistic portrayal of siblings, because I think, at least my siblings, we're all so different. But I think it's like you can get along and be close and not be the same. Like I think sometimes in books, the siblings are either so identical and they're best friends, or they like hate each other. They're opposites. But I think this is a little more in the middle of like, well, we can be different, but try to understand where each other's coming from. So I think in this Thanksgiving house, Nora would be stuck with the kids at the kids' table for some reason and would be like so incensed about that. And be like, I deserve to be at the adult table just because I'm single or whatever. I don't need to be here with the children.
Yes. Let's just like take a moment for that. So often single adults end up at the kids' table just because they're not married, and that is so stupid.
Yes, I can say that. I see that in my own family. Although we don't have any kids really anymore, so I wouldn't say there's a kids' table, but the kids' table would be a catch-all for anyone who was still single when we did have a kids' table.
Yeah, even if you're old.
Yeah, doesn't matter your age. There is no cutoff. It's just being married.
Yeah, stupid. All right, continue.
I also think that Nora would insist on having Thanksgiving catered by a professional, and Libby would be kind of sad that it wasn't like a traditional where we all cook Thanksgiving, but she would go along with it because she would know that Nora was ultimately right, that that would be too much work to try to cram into their small apartment or wherever they were and cook a big meal when neither of them probably have the skills to do that. But I do I think I see them as a very incredibly warm and loving family. Like, I think what we were talking about, like, Thanksgiving is not going to be perfect. There's going to be drama. There's going to be people getting mad at each other. There's going to be all this stuff that goes on, but I think it's a picture perfect but imperfect Thanksgiving meal. I see them as people who have been through a lot and really value the relationship they have with each other and value their family, even if they're super different. So that is my theory about the Nora and Libby book lovers universe Thanksgiving.
And I think, like, to our earlier point, they would probably have a fun Thanksgiving because they don't have these, like, classic expectations. Like, there's no parents. They don't have, it's not like they're already going to have a non-traditional Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and I think I assume it's making my assumptions about the world that they live in, I assume they had a lot of Thanksgivings that were, like, not great. Like, when they were growing up and trying to make it without their mom, and Nora was working a lot, like, I bet they had a lot of Thanksgivings that were just rough, or they didn't get to do anything, or maybe they didn't get to spend it together. So I think when you've had that, you can kind of appreciate it more. Now that they are adults, they are stable, I think they would really appreciate and value, like, that they get to be together and that they get to celebrate together, even if it's not perfect.
I agree with you. I think that's a good observation. My next family are the Bennetts from Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. So our main players at the Thanksgiving table would be Mr. and Mrs. Bennet, obviously, Jane, Lizzie, Kitty, Lydia, and Mary, and possibly some special guests, including Mr. Collins, their cousin, and heir to the estate. And I left out the spouses from this because it was just too many people. So I left out, Darcy, Bingley, and Wickham. But I did, as an honorable mention, if Mr. Darcy and Georgiana showed up, they would be, like, organizing like a family croquet game instead of, like, a family football game. That'd probably be them. They'd be, like, in the backyard doing that. But we know that this would be a very, very highly, highly chaotic Thanksgiving because this is a very highly chaotic family. First of all, we know they have servants as well, just like the Marches. So the servants would cook all the food because Mrs. Bennet would be just, like, purely mortified if anyone thought that her estate couldn't afford to cook. It would be so obviously this is in England, so they don't celebrate Thanksgiving. But if they did, it would be an elaborate but English meal, so we know it wouldn't taste very good.
Yeah, don't from the English.
Or be very well seasoned. They would probably eat, like, blood pudding and, like, beans on toast and, like, just be really weird and gross. And then they'd be like, they would have, like, some tinned tomatoes on the side and be like, oh, spicy. We also know that who the drama would be. So the main dramatic people in this family would be Mrs. Bennet. She would be the drama because she would be inviting over unexpected guests who were single and male to try and marry off her daughters. The other piece of the drama would be Lydia, because Lydia is extremely annoying. She would be complaining about never getting to be part of the fun. She's also most likely to have too much drink because she's always stealing sips of her, like, family member's wine because she doesn't get poured any because she's not old enough, but she is still nonetheless the most likely to drink too much and make a scene. So because of all that chaos, Lizzie would be hiding, reading a book somewhere until, like, the very moment that it's time to eat dinner. Mary, the youngest sister, would be busy playing the piano loudly and badly. And then when they sat down to eat dinner, she would be the one who did a land acknowledgement and brought up the fact that Thanksgiving is based on genocide of indigenous people.
Incredible.
Totally killing the vibe. bringing up a very important point, but yeah, also killing the vibe. Um, Mr. Bennett is unbothered and probably the most likely to, quote, take a walk, unquote, with the cousins after the meal to smoke a joint. Jane is the most likely to exhaust herself by being polite and hosting all of the guests because everyone else is like being selfish and doing their own thing, and she's the one who's like quietly listening. And then if Mr. Collins pulled up, he would compliment the excellent boiled potatoes and offer to do a reading for everyone from a very boring book. So it would be a shit show of a Thanksgiving,
It sounds like it.
in my opinion.
Incredible.
Yeah. All right, what's your next family?
Okay. So my second family is the little family from the book The Gunkle. Of course, gay Uncle Patrick, not Gump, and Maisie and Grant, the two kids. So I picked this family because I think, first of all, it would be amazing to have a famous uncle, and I think Patrick is like the perfect level of famous to where you would have missed his peak of his fame, so you can hang out with him in public and it's not like a bother. But he was on a show that people seem to have known, so you could always just drop that in there. Like, my Uncle Patrick is, he's this famous guy from this famous sitcom. So first of all, that alone would be amazing.
So would it be kind of like, would he be more famous or less famous than if your uncle was like Matthew Perry?
That's the vibe I got,
Okay.
But Matthew Perry, well, probably Matthew Perry, because I was going to say Matthew Perry if he never went on to do anything after Friends.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's probably
Hey, he was on 17 again.
I know, that's all I could think about. So maybe skip out 17 again, but but probably similar to if your uncle was Matthew Perry. And I think the kids in this book seem truly enjoyable as far as kids go. Kids can really change the vibe of Thanksgiving, just to be honest. Like some years, so my family goes to the beach, and some years there will be kids there, and some years kids won't be there. And this year's a kidless year. It's just different. It's like good both ways, but it is a different energy. So, but these kids seem really enjoyable, funny, cute. So I would be okay with spending Thanksgiving with them. And I think Patrick would be appalled of the suggestion of a kids' table. He would think that the children should be eating with the adults and that they should learn how to just behave with the adults. So he would not have a kids' table. And of course, he would be the drama. He is the drama in every sense of the word. So in this book, he has like a neighbor that are like in a throuple. So I think he would semi-reluctantly invite them over to enjoy the Thanksgiving meal, but I think he would be happy that there was people there in the end. And I'm going to be honest, it has been a while since I read this book. I remember them celebrating Christmas in the book, so I don't know, they might have actually had a Thanksgiving, and I'm just completely forgetting it.
No, because they did Christmas in July.
Oh, okay, that's right.
That's right.
They
did it.
I remember something about Christmas. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, they did Christmas in July.
So there was no Thanksgiving, but I think this is how it would go. Based off of that, I think maybe he would have learned from his experiences with that and tried to make it a little smaller, but he would still invite his neighbors over, and he would be happy that he did. And I think, in this book, it has lots to do with grief. In the book, the mother of the kids passes away, and that was Patrick's best friend. And so I think grief can make the holidays really difficult, but I think, much like this book, that they would learn and try to navigate it with tenderness and humor, and it would be funny, but it would still be sad, but I think they would navigate it in the best way possible. So I would love to be a part of this Thanksgiving meal. I think it would be wildly hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
At the very
end. Of course, gay Uncle Patrick would be wearing a caftan.
Absolutely.
In fall colors.
Yes. And
because this would be in Palm Springs, so the weather would just be like still perfectly fine. Yeah.
I think he would detest anything, any kind of overly cheesy turkey decor. It would be a very classy Thanksgiving.
Very classy, very tasteful.
Yes. So I think it would be lovely. And it too would be catered. I think much like Nora and Libby's Thanksgiving, I know for a fact he would have some kind of catering or cook or someone.
Yeah, he would not do that himself.
He would not do that.
I think, yes, dude. So just on the topic of this book, not necessarily Thanksgiving, I thought this book did such a good job talking about grief. Like,
Yes.
it's like the funniest book that talks about grief.
Yes. It
In the
is.
It
And
is
it's so
so good.
real. Yeah, it's so real because I think um the first year we did this beach trip with my family was after my grandfather passed away, and it felt like that, where it's like we were having so much fun. It was so funny. But then there are those moments where you're like, oh, he would have loved to be here, or like, we wish he was here. So it's still like, I think that's exactly what the Gunko was and what their Thanksgiving would be like, of like, it's fun, it's funny, and then you wish they were there, but you still can remember them and like celebrate those memories. And I think they would do a good job with that.
Yeah, I love that. It's a really good pick. I'm glad you picked the Gunkel.
Yes. I highly recommend the book, honestly. It would be a great Thanksgiving read as well, even though it is a
I
summer book.
I know, like I think it's supposed to be a summer book. I like had it on hold in the library from like last year. I put it on hold at the
Yeah,
library in summer, and I didn't get it. It's so popular, I didn't get it until
absolutely.
December. So I ended up reading it as a Christmas book, and it was really good, and
Yeah.
just like reminds you about how like perfectly imperfect families are.
Yes, exactly.
So, um, so our last family is actually one that we're sharing because we both wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the ultimate family.
the
The
ultimate
origin
family,
family for me.
the Pevensies, from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And what other books are they in? Prince Caspian
Yes. And
and
the Voyage of the Dawn Treader,
yes,
Lucy and Edmund are in. And then they
yeah,
all almost come back at the end, except Susan. R.I.P.
we'll get to that. Anyways, so um, okay, so the Pevensey children are Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy in that order.
Hmm.
So when I was thinking it, so we both put our thoughts separately. So let's both like talk about our thoughts and then maybe like where they merge.
Yeah,
Okay. So I was speculating, I thought it'd be more fun to think about if they had Thanksgiving in Narnia.
absolutely.
So I was kind of picturing right at the end of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe when they become High Kings and Queens of Narnia, and they are hosting Thanksgiving at Cair Paravel.
Of course.
So they would invite over Mr. and Mrs. Beaver, and Mrs. Beaver would do the cooking, in my
Absolutely.
opinion. Mr. Tumnus would come. He would bring his flute. He would do the entertainment.
That made me laugh when I saw that.
Oh my God. Me and Zach were talking about that scene in The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, where in the movie,
Hmm.
when Mr. Tumnus is playing that flute,
Hmm.
that was like scarring. That was
Honestly,
really scary.
yeah, I would like close my eyes during that scene. It
It
is
would make me
traumatizing.
really, really nervous.
Also, did Lucy never learn about stranger danger? This goat man invites her to his house
so
to
annoying.
give her food, and she's
Honestly,
just like, sure.
here's a hot take. I think every single one of them is annoying.
Yes.
They
They're
are
just
all
good together,
kind of like I was like thinking about this before, and I was like talking it through. Zach is getting so many honorable mentions in this story in this
Yes.
episode, but we were talking about it, and he is an oldest. He's an oldest son, and so he was like, "Yeah, no, Peter's the best," and I was like, "I'm gonna push
Is he
back on
though?
you."
Yeah. Is he
He's
the
very
best?
self-righteous, and
He
he thinks he
is.
knows everything.
Yes.
So that's what I said. Peter would be annoying, and he would be very self-righteous, and he would be bossing everyone around. Be like, you know,
Yes.
be quiet, I can't hear the parade on TV. Or like, we have to eat at 4 p.m. sharp. And just, I think he would be annoying, in my
Yes.
opinion.
Word.
Edmund, of course, would be ruining the dinner by eating Turkish delight. He'd be ruining his supper.
He didn't learn his
And
lesson.
just also, I was imagining, okay, what would Edmund and Lucy be doing? Edmund would be like, or Lucy would be like, I want to play hide and seek. And then he would be like, go hide, and never comes to find her. So all day she would be like hiding in a closet, and Edmund never came to find her.
Yeah.
And then she comes out and she's like, did I win? um, Susan would be the only truly helpful one with Mrs. Beaver cooking the dinner,
Hmm.
but in like a very Bible story Martha and Mary
Yes.
way, where she's like making everyone else feel really guilty for the fact
Hmm.
that, and like bad that they're not helping, but she is. So
Yes.
like she is the best.
Absolutely.
And so it wouldn't even be like truly like Meg in Little Women, where she's probably just helping to help. She would be like helping, but like with a side of guilt.
Yes, a heaping plate of steaming guilt.
Yes, and resentment.
Yes.
All right, so that's how I envision their Thanksgiving. How did you envision their Thanksgiving?
Yeah, so I was thinking, I actually thought of them more on the England side
Okay.
originally, but or not pre Narnia, but maybe when they come back from Narnia the first time.
Okay.
So I thought they were a great family because they obviously their parents care about them because they sent them away from the war and like they might die, I guess, and they just sent the kids away to keep them safe. So I think that was, chill of the parents to like be selfless. And then I think their uncle's kind of a cool vibe, creepy, but mysterious, but magical, knows about Narnia, but like won't tell you directly what's going on. That's always cool. So, but maybe he would open up more at the Thanksgiving table and he would have some more stories to share with them. So I thought that would be cool. And then, they have there's like a lady who lives there. What is she? Is she a servant? I don't know.
She's like their nanny, governess kind of thing.
Yeah, but I thought she's kind of like related to the uncle somehow. Like maybe that's I don't know. Anyways, gotta reread those books. But
So sorry for all of the nerds who are listening that are
sorry.
like,
Sorry to
C.S.
C.S.
Lewis
Lewis to disrespect you.
All right, whatever.
I've read this book series so many times, so I should know. Like I love to reread it, but I forget how she's related. So that would be cool. She would do a lot. And on the Narnia side, I think Aslan would disappear during the prayer before the meal. Like you would close your eyes to pray, and then he would be gone.
He is the drama.
Peace out. Yes, he's mastered the Irish goodbye.
He's so
leaves.
freaking dramatic for no reason at all.
Yeah.
Like he always just is like showing up and leaving and never says goodbye. It's so rude.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of weird because it's like he's obviously a Jesus, allegory or whatever. But like when Jesus peaced out, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go now," and then like ascended into heaven. Like it was kind of a big deal. So I don't really get where Aslan got that from. So he needs to chill. I agree with you. I think Susan would be helpful, but incredibly annoying. Trying to make everyone else help as much as she was, but like they don't even need the help of everyone else. So they were like just getting in the way if they did what she said, but she was just bothering everyone. And I think in general, your characteristics are accurate from where they were in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. But I would think that they did grow, and obviously they grew up in that book. They lived like a full adult life before they went back to England. So I like to think that they did all soften. Like I think Peter maybe had some more humility. I think Edmund had a little more wisdom. I think Susan.
I don't know.
I don't know about her. And then I think Lucy did mature a little bit as well. So I think there's some maturity that they gained. But I think if we're talking like the beginning of that book, 100% your characteristics are on the nose.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Yeah.
So I loved it. But I would love to be a part of their family. Like I think having 4 kids is a lot, but like it probably would be cool because you always have someone to play with or something. And there's 2 boys and 2 girls. It's like the platonic idea of a family, and they fight a lot, but they seem to always be there for each other,
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that it would be cool and it's fun. I think they're fun, like, because they're kids who go on this adventure so independently. So when you're a kid and you're reading this book, you're like, oh man, I could do that.
Yeah.
Like I could be just like, I don't need an adult to go to Narnia with me. Like I could do it myself.
How mad though do you think? This is not on the Thanksgiving topic, but imagine you're just like a random elephant or something in Narnia, and all of a sudden this like 10-year-old is the High Queen. You know what I mean? Like, how annoyed do you think you would be at Aslan? I mean, obviously they saved you from the White Witch and all that, but like, wouldn't you be like, hello, there was no one more qualified for this job?
Right. Also, just the whole bit that like Aslan could have just come back the whole time. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, where were you, Aslan? She was turning people into stone for years.
Yeah.
But the prophecy and all that. So.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, whatever. We're really harming the well-being of the C.S. Lewis like devouts that are listening to this right now.
I know. I'm sorry.
So sorry to trigger you.
And I love these books. I really will say I have a bound like version that's all of the books in one book form. And so I'm a big fan. We're just having fun
Yeah, we're talking
out of respect.
about. No, we love it. It's great. Okay, so I think that concludes our discussion on literary families and Thanksgiving. Maybe just to tie it up, Emily, what are your plans this Thanksgiving?
Well, I'm going to the beach as I do. We're going to Gulf Shores, Alabama. So we go for the whole week. I'm
With your
really
extended,
pumped with my
we is like,
extended family. Yes.
yeah.
My aunts and uncles, grandma, brothers. Both my brothers are coming this year, so that is exciting because sometimes, not all of us can be there, so that's kind of nice. And I'm making the pumpkin pie and the mac and cheese. Uh,
Ooh, that's a big responsibility.
yeah, well, every single year they leave off mac and cheese off the menu. I don't know, so then I have to like be the one to say I'm just gonna make it. But I have this really good recipe off TikTok. I will put a link in the show notes. I found it on TikTok and it killed last year, so I'm ready to make it again.
Oh, good.
It was quite good. And the pumpkin pie recipe is actually my grandma's servant's recipe. I found that
Oh,
one out.
Jesus. Oh my God.
So my grandma, for anyone who doesn't know anything about me, my grandma grew up wealthy and she had upstairs maids and downstairs maids in her multi-story house, which is just baffling to me. And all this time they're like, here's this pumpkin pie recipe. It's been passed down in our family. And I learned last year that it was her servant's recipe, who she spent a lot of time with them. So that is what it
Wow.
is. But it's a great recipe. So thank you to that woman passing that down to my family. But I make that every year because my grandma used to make it, but she just, it's kind of hard for her to be in the kitchen
She
these
just
days,
gets,
so.
yeah, she just chills now.
Yeah, so, but I like to make it. There's a few of us who really love it. I wouldn't say it's a big hit, but pumpkin pie is kind of an acquired taste, so not everyone
I love
loves
it. It's actually my favorite pie.
Yeah, I love it. It is my favorite pie as well. But there's enough of us that eat it that it's worth it for me to make it for my grandma, and for me. So that's it.
Nice.
What about you? What are your plans this Thanksgiving? A little different.
Well,
Kind of far.
yeah. So yeah, now we live in Los Angeles. So, we are just doing a solo Thanksgiving this year. So, there's been lots of discussion about this, honestly, for like months since we knew that we were having Thanksgiving on our own, about like, okay, what recipes from my family traditions am I bringing? What family recipes is Zach bringing? And then like, what new things are we trying together?
That's cool.
So, because let's see, the first year we were together, we didn't do Thanksgiving together because we just started dating.
Yeah.
Then the next year, I was with Zach's family. And then the next year, he was with my family. And so now that you know how many Thanksgivings we shared together, you're probably wondering why I'm not engaged yet.
Zach, I know you're listening.
So, me too. I'm wondering too. Anyway, so this freaking Thanksgiving, we are, so I'm making some things for my family. He's making some things for his family. And then I think we're going to do, a new thing. We're going to do pumpkin cheesecake. That's something that like neither one of our families have done. And then maybe something else. I don't know. But, anyways, he's making the macaroni and cheese. It's like his mom's macaroni and cheese is really important to him. My mom doesn't normally make macaroni and cheese, but I'm bringing my mom's collard greens. We're making cornbread dressing. We're doing a lot of cooking, and we might go to the beach because everyone says in LA like Thanksgiving's one of the days of the year where there's like no traffic.
Yeah.
Because like everyone's at home or out of town, so you can get to the beach in like 15 minutes or something. So
cool.
we're gonna see
nice.
what it's all about. Yeah.
It's kind of fun. Like, that's a cool thing about, being in a relationship with someone like that. You can kind of have both like family cultures come together and like you can pick and choose the best parts. So I think that's really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
It will be cool.
Awesome.
Okay, so should we talk about some of our favorite books we read to wrap this thing up?
I was going to say the same thing. Do you want to go first?
Sure. So, a recent read of mine, which full disclosure, I'm still working on, because it is a 28-day like journaling situation. It's called Me and White Supremacy by Layla F. Saad. So this, so some context. At my job, this time of year we start putting together our annual goals. And one of the goals we have to create is like some equity related goals. And so I was thinking through like, what could I do as part of my equity goals for the year? And one of mine is going through this book. So um, this Layla F. Saad is actually a British African. She's an African British person, and now she lives in Qatar. But she is really brilliant and very knowledgeable about like race, racism. She's a scholar, and she has put together this like 28-day book with journaling prompts every day that are supposed to help you evaluate your own personal relationship with white supremacy. So in white supremacy culture, which she's very distinct to say this is about not about white privilege, it's about white supremacy, and about how that's a lot harder to face. And also about how like this is not a book about just culture in general or racism in general. It's about like you personally. So like some of the writing prompts, for instance, are like, how have I consciously or unconsciously leveraged my white privilege over a person of color? And like really having to evaluate your own relationship with it. And so that's what makes it kind of hard. And that's why you got to go slow, because you really want to take time to think through each of these things. But it's been very transformative so far and challenging for me. So I highly recommend it to anyone on this podcast who's listening who is white or holds white privilege. A more serious recommendation, but it's been very transformative. I rented the audiobook and the ebook so that I could listen to the chapters, but then also have the questions in writing. So
Cool.
anyways, highly recommend.
That
What
sounds
about you?
really interesting. So mine's also kind of a serious recommendation, actually. We didn't plan this, but it is called Tell Me Everything by Erica Krauss. And it's part like personal memoir, part true crime retelling. So Erica basically, she sets up the book by telling you that her whole life has like had this face where people will just come up to her, like she'll start a conversation with a stranger and all of a sudden, 20 minutes later they're telling her their deepest life secrets and saying, I've never told this to anyone before. And she's like, at a certain point, she's like, this just happens to me. I don't know how to explain that to you. So that's kind of what happens. And she's kind of struggling, working temp jobs when she's in a bookstore, and she runs into a lawyer who's telling her, I'm a partner in this law firm and I've accomplished all my dreams, but I hate it and I don't like this and I want to quit and all this stuff. And he's like, I don't even know why I'm telling you this. I've never told. He's freaking out. Like, he's like, I've never told anyone this in my life. And she's like, no, people just do this to me. She goes to her spiel or whatever. And he's like, okay, you come work for me. And so she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you could be a private investigator for me. Like, I could use that if that's true, that people are just like, I've never opened up like this to anyone. I don't know why. You obviously have some kind of talent. So she starts working for him. And then the true crime part is the major case she's working on is a basically huge Title IX sexual assault case against a major football team at a college in her area. She doesn't specify the college. I'm sure you could look it up. But I didn't do that because I don't really care which college it is, but it's a true story. And
Wow.
essentially they're trying to prove that there's this culture of enabling these sexual assaults. There's one particular incident where I don't want to go into the details because there's so many trigger warnings on this book, but so if that's not something you're comfortable reading, just know that. But there's one particular case they're working on, but they're kind of trying to prove, the DA won't press charges, so there's no criminal case. So they're pursuing it from a civil angle of like, there is this culture at this university and it's discriminatory towards women. That's kind of what they're trying to prove. And that the coach had knowledge of it. The university had knowledge of it. So it's a lot to prove. So she kind of sets out talking to witnesses. It's super interesting, but
She's undercover the whole time?
She's not undercover. She's open about what she's doing.
Okay.
Yes. So she's talking to victims of assaults. She's talking to football players. She's talking to as many people as she can. And yeah, she's being open that she's a private investigator. This is the case they're working on. It is super interesting. She also herself, the memoir part, was a victim of sexual abuse in her house from a very young age. And so I think sometimes it's jarring because I went to go review it on Storygraph and it did have a lower star rating than I would have given it. And I think from reading those reviews, a lot of people were expecting it to be just about the true crime part and not about her own life. So if you just go into it knowing it's about both, I think of course, that was affecting her if she's investigating these cases and she has that in her own life. But just know that it does focus about 50-50 on the cases and then on her past and her coming to terms with that and her family and kind of the fallout from the things that happened to her as a child. So just know that, but I think that's super interesting if you do like memoirs, which I really do.
Yeah, me too.
It's a
I might like that. So just proceed with caution and take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. It is like gut-wrenchingly sad at times. There is stuff about the justice system that is just like will make you lose all hope. Like the judges and the DAs that just don't seem to care about the women who were impacted by this. It will make you be even. I'm very anti-football. I'm just going to say. So if you're anti-football already, you will be even more anti-football because it's so interesting how football players. There's a lot of statistics about how much they make up the amount of like assault cases and crimes on campuses. Anyways, it's super interesting.
Wow.
It's all a true story. So I've probably talked about it too long now, but I just think it is a great read. If just, again, be very cautious if that's something you're not feeling okay about reading about any sexual assault or anything. It goes pretty in depth on those things. So just be careful. But if you're okay with that, it's a really interesting book and so well written and very hard to read, but I couldn't put it down either. So highly recommend.
Okay, maybe a Thanksgiving read.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe like an early February,
Okay, sure.
But,
sure.
Okay.